So look, YouTube, like, if you guys seen my last Broken War video, I would like to apologize to y'all. Because honest truth, that is probably arguably the worst build I've made. Because I didn't even like, I don't even know. Because when I read the comments, I really look back. That was probably one of my first builds I made. And it, like I said, it was terrible. So I got a way better build for you guys this time. Using a different arcane, not melee influence or melee exposure or melee afflictions or melee animosity. We're gonna be using something a little different that goes really good with the Broken War, and it's gonna be really fun, I'm telling y'all. But yeah, let's get into this wonderful video. All right, starting off with this video, this is the build I'm gonna be using. I am using a ribbon in the build I'm gonna be showing you guys because I love my Broken War ribbon, and if you don't have a ribbon, that's tough. But here's the build for you guys. Just switch out the ribbon for Fever Strike and just use Viral, or if you still want to use Blast, that's still fine too. You can go with Blast and Toxin. The same thing over here. I'm using over here Blast and Toxin, but you just won't get those extra 209% critical chance, right? I am minus with that 80% status chance, so I do lose status chance when I'm using this ribbon. But with you guys also gain it. You get what I'm saying? So melee Doughty is really good because now it allows us to take our puncture energy. I said puncture energy, puncture status, and times that 0.8 for critical damage for every 10% puncture status, right? So now we're going to be doing a lot of critical damage at the same time, getting that puncture damage while using our status like viral or slash and impact that we already have into it, right? Discipline Merit is going to be really good because you're going to be allowed to spam your heavy. Now this heavy attack is really good because you already have a lot of critical chance, and that's why with my ribbon build right here, I'm using I have that 209% critical chance. Like that is insane. I'm not even gonna lie. With Blood Rusher, now we're gonna get insane amount of damage. We don't have to really worry about the critical multiplier because we're using melee Doughty, however you want to say it. But yeah, so this is the build you guys are going to be using. Nothing too crazy. Screenshot of Berserk Fury is going to be really good. We are going to be using Arcane Strike. We are going to be using Arcane Fury. Arcane Fury is mandatory for like 90% of melees. Keep that in mind, unless it's like the glaives type of melees or even the fan melees and like slam melees, stuff like that. Those are exceptions, but other than that, 9 times out of 10, well, 8 times out of 10, you're probably going to be using Arcane Fury when you're using a melee. If that's what you're just trying to do, if you're just trying to use your melee, make sure you have Arcane Fury, right? So this is the build. Screenshot this, and here's what I'm going to be using for the video. This is my build, same thing, except you just lose that insane amount of critical chance, like literally 50% of that, which is crazy, but so like I said, with our arcanes for our warframes, and I'm keep on saying it, for my aura I'm using corrosive projection. If you have steel charge, you can still do more damage. Some of you guys, depending on what warframe you're going to be using, are going to do less damage because it might your aura might go for like your stats, or maybe your rifle, like for example Holster Amp is 60% squad weapon damage for everything, you know what I'm saying? Or Psychic, this gives squad energy to 20% maximum. Like you might have stuff like this growing power on your aura, and that determines some of your damage. If it's ability damage, health, or melee damage, or weapon damage in general. Just keep that in mind because I feel like a lot of you guys don't understand that sometimes for my beginners, of course. Then Arcane, like I said, Arcane Fury, Arcane Strike. We want to maximize without using any of our abilities. Yes, I have Nourish on this build, but I won't be using it. I'm going to be using strictly just my second ability just to keep me alive. And then I'm going to be using my mods and Arcanes. No helmet abilities, no shards. Boom, this is what we're going to be using. That's why I try not to shard up my builds too much, because I want you guys to show the raw damage without that. You know what I'm saying? Companion, the Panzer, sometimes the Panzer be acting a little weird though. You know what I'm saying? If you want to go with analysis, that's still good too. Here's analysis build 2 for y'all too if you want to see that. I ain't gonna lie, I need to upgrade mine for sure. Look at this, it's crazy. But yeah, so I like going with the Panzer. I didn't show you guys this. So yeah, Panzer is really good with melee damage in my opinion. Look, we're gonna get into some high level gameplay, like 180, some little light. Again, if you guys want to see me do higher levels, let me know. But these are just like build testing, you know. When I'm doing higher levels, like real high, you know, I gotta use all my abilities. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not even gonna cap y'all. But yeah, it's your boy. Let's get into that wonderful gameplay. as you guys can see, the Broken War is an extremely fun weapon. We're not using melee influence or any of the typical 3 most people been using. We're gonna be using melee Doughty. Really good with it. Does insane damage. You can still do the same damage, and I got blast with my Riven. This allows me just to have like a pseudo version of the, you know, melee influence, where I can wipe out a couple enemies, like about 5 or 6, but the melee influence wipes out a whole wave of enemies. You get what I'm saying? But yeah, if you like this video, man, please leave a like and subscribe. It's your boy IQ Water. I'm out.